Hey everybody, my name is Jennifer and this is Metatron speaking. Today we're going to talk about the Akashic records. Maybe this is something you don't know about, or maybe this is something you're interested in, and I can share just a little bit more about it because I have a lot of details on it. So, just starting off, what is the Akashic records? It's basically an energetic library, if you will. It's a location where the information from every person, every soul, from every incarnation and everything that has ever happened in the past is recorded in this location. And that is something that God or Creator has tasked Metatron to keep track of. In some texts, it's referred to as like a book of life or something else along those lines. But basically, it's a library, if you will. Um, and so there's a lot of value in having everything that's ever happened be recorded. So we're going to take a look at that. So this is a real and proper and actual location. It is 7th and 7D. A lot of people see it as like an actual library, and I guess we'll get into that. But let's start with, how do you get into this place, right? So we know what it is. If you want to get into past lives, this is the place you want to go. And the value in getting past lives is that a lot of our trauma is tied into past lives. So we need to learn about the lifetimes that the trauma happened in order to release the trauma. So the Akashic Records is very valuable for all of us for that reason. So how do you get into the Akashic Records? There's a couple things you have to have it lined up to get there. One, you have to have the right guide. So not just any guide has access to the Akashic Records. It's not like a public library where the doors are wide open and you just walk right in and you just grab whatever book you want. This place is on lockdown. You have to have the passcode, you have to be authorized. So you have to have the right guide. So of course Metatron is a good guide to have for that place because that's his place, that's his location, that he's the one who's keeping track of all of that information. Also, Archangel Gabriel is one of the ones that has access, and Archangel Zadkiel. And I'm also told that there are additional guides that have access to that place, but it's based on agreements with Metatron. So um, perhaps you have a specific guide that there's already an agreement in place with Metatron where it's like, hey, yeah, for that person that you're working with, we know you need to get some past lives. Go ahead and go get them, or whatever the case is. Another thing, if you Google or check YouTube about the Akashic Records, a lot of people will tell you that anyone and everyone can have access to it. And that is not the answer that I'm getting. And so, whenever I talk to you guys about anything, I'm not regurgitating what's out on the internet. I'm only telling you what I am being told from my guides. I don't have time to be researching the internet and, like, you know, reading someone else's information. So I get everything directly from them. So that's the best I can do. So that's what I do. Um, so not everyone has access to the Akashic Records. So, for example, if it's not in your soul contract to walk on in to that place, then you're not going to be able to get in. And I wish somebody would have said that to me because I actually had trouble getting in, but it was actually for a different reason. But I'll go over that. Um, but yeah, uh, so this being said, and I've said this before in other videos, and I want to say it here too. If for some reason you were aware, maybe of a pendulum, right? Maybe you know how to use your pendulum, and maybe you ask, hey, is it part of my soul contract to have access to the Akashic Records? And maybe you get a no, and maybe you're really disappointed, and you're like, man, I would love to go in there and pull past life information for myself. And I would love to go in there and pull past life information for other people and help them out in that way. If that's something you really feel motivated by and you really feel joyful about, then your guides and Metatron and Creator are gonna open that up to you, but you have to want it and you have to work towards it. So then you do have to start Googling and going on YouTube and figuring out, okay, how do people get into this place? Because I want to know how. And you just keep trying. And at the right time, the right doors open and you will get there. Um, the Akashic records in my mind was like the most wonderful thing to have access to. And I just that and channeling your guides, I thought those were the two coolest things that could ever exist. And thankfully both of them were in my soul contract. So we did those. Um, Another thing you need to be able to gain access to the Akashic records is your vibration needs to be high enough. So your vibration needs to be at least at a 7D level. Um, and a lot of you it might sound like that, ooh, that's really high, 7D, it's so high. When you think about there are 40 dimensions in the universe, in the multiverse, I don't even know what the word is for it. 40. 7 isn't too bad, right? 7 isn't so bad. So just for perspective, um, I don't know what my vibration is at this exact moment. Okay, I'm just checking. It's at least at a 70. Okay, cool. So um so just so you know, when you have a vibration like that, it's not like you sit around all day and you're like, "Oh gosh, I love everybody. I just feel so much love and I'm thinking about love and I feel love and I'm always loving." Like that's not how it is. You still go through all the regular emotions. You still get frustrated maybe every day. Um can still get angry, still grouchy, everything. The difference, I think, when you're at a higher vibration versus when you're kind of keeping around that 3D level is the higher you go, the less time you spend in that lower emotion because it starts feeling yucky and you feel like you have the skills to get out of it quicker. So there's that. And then the other cool thing, if you're at a high vibration and something makes you angry, you don't drop like all the way back down to 3. You drop maybe a couple dimensions and you're angry and you get it back up. So you can still overall have a high vibration even though you're fluctuating all day because everyone's vibration is constantly fluctuating. It is not a fixed number. It changes all day long, every single day. So you probably have an average of where you're at, but it's always moving. Okay. Yeah, so I'll get my low vibrational feelings normally 10 to 15 minutes at a time. It's longer than that. Let's be honest, it's a demonic attachment and it needs to be cleared. And anytime I get in a funky mood, I will do clearings for myself because I know you lower your vibration, now you're the same level, same vibrating level as demons. Sorry, it's true. So they, of course, can easily jump on. So that's when you need to do your clearings to make sure you're not holding those feelings because you'll think they're your feelings. You'll still feel angry, you'll still feel frustrated, you'll be telling yourself all these things, but it's not even your thoughts. You have to recognize that this is a low vibration entity. This is not a natural state for our souls. And once you clear it, you're going to feel good. Um, okay. And I do have an unfair advantage with my vibration in general because now that I'm working with Metatron and we're in this partnership, he does daily trauma removal from me. He's being funny right now. He just leaned out. He's leaning over and he's pulling trauma out of me. Yeah. He literally does it all day long for me. Um, and so that serves his purposes and that serves my purposes, right? Because he needs my vibration to stay high so that he can communicate with me so that I can work for him, so that I can do what it is he needs me to do. So it's kind of part of our relationship. He's always removing trauma for me and showing me past lives and doing all these things so that I can keep my vibration where it needs to be. Um, Something I want to mention. Oh, nope, he says no. I will not mention it. Carrying on. um, okay, so the more of your past life and current life trauma, so the more of your trauma is removed from you, the higher your vibration is, because the vibration of your trauma is always low. It's trauma. It's something that scared you. It's something that made you feel shame or depressed, or you were just devastated. It was a loss of some kind. Whatever that trauma is, it's a low vibration. It's a 1 or it's a 2, maybe it's a 3 if you're lucky, I don't know. And that's sitting inside your energetic field, and it's impacting your physical body, your energetic body, your everything. Um, so that's why it's important to get the trauma out, because it's pulling down your vibration without you doing anything. You could feel like you're in a pretty reasonable mood, but that trauma pulls you down. Um, the most effective way to remove the most damaging trauma you have from past lives is to have an Akashic Records reading done. Um, so if you're worried about current life stuff, that's not for the Akashic Records. It's only for past life. If you're looking at smaller traumas, that's something that you should be able to clear on your own. I have videos on my website that talk about trauma removal, or how to remove trauma, so you can look up that video. So you should be able to clear a lot of your own traumas if you just put effort into it and kind of learn the right process. But for the really large, heavy, intense traumas, most likely you're going to need to go to somebody who can ID these things, because you're not going to go to a therapist and ID a past life, right? You could go to a hypnotherapist and they could help you with this as well. So I'll put that on the list of possibilities. But you can't go to like a regular therapist for this type of thing. So there aren't a lot of people who have access to the Akashic Records currently. It's still kind of a relatively new concept. So it's not like there are people on every street corner who know how to do this. The ones that I know of do charge a lot more than me. Metatron decides a lot of things that I do, and that's not because he's bossy. That's because I want to be in alignment with his plan for my life, so he can get the things he needs to get done. So I defer to him for a lot of decisions, and if it's not a decision he needs to make, he'll push it back on me and say, you decide. But for like example, on our website, the services we provide, the Akashic Records or anything else, we ask him what the prices should be. We don't just pull a number out of anywhere. We ask him because he gave us a number. And he has a purpose for everything. So if he wants to price us lower, much lower than anybody else who can do this service, then that's because he wants to get this service out to as many people as possible. He's trying to help people. So I don't want to interfere with that. So certain things like prices, we defer to him on. Okay, so back to what you need to get access to the Akashic Records. 7D consciousness or higher, or 7D consciousness, 7D vibration or higher, a guide who has access. And then you also need enough clairvoyance to be able to see what they're showing you, because this information comes in as video, basically. A video, I guess it could come in as pictures, but mostly it's just like a little short video that it'll show you. So you need to be able to see that. And hopefully you have a little bit of claircognizance to have that knowing of what's going on. But if not, I was told that the archangels or whichever guide is helping you will assist you with understanding a little bit more about what that's about. So you need a little bit of a psychic ability to do this. You can't just kind of go in blindly to it. So how do people access the Akashic Records? How does one get there? As far as I know, most people access it through meditation. So so a lot of people have like a special prayer or special like ritualistic thing that they say in order to assist them with going straight to the Akashic Records. Because a lot of people don't know this, so when you are meditating, and okay, so work with me here. So you're meditating, you're in a 3D world, right? So we're on a 3D planet in our 3D body. And so we close our eyes and we start meditating. So your astral body or etheric body or energetic body. Astral. Your astral body will leave your physical body while you're meditating, right? And so it goes up. So when you start off, you're in 3D. So you close your eyes, and if you have good clairvoyance, as you are going up, you're going to see everything between here and wherever you want to be headed. For example, the 70 Akashic records. So if you have clairvoyance and you can see what's going on in 3D in the energetic world, um, it is departed souls that have not reconnected to God, and it is demons. That is what's in 3D. So obviously people don't want to like be it's the astral realm. People don't want to be poking around the astral realm unnecessarily. You want to get through that and get straight to where you want to go. So that's why a lot of people have like a protection prayer to get them there. Silly me, I would do it without a protection prayer for the longest time. And I'd see cool stuff in the astral realm, but then I ended up just working there anyways. So it wasn't too big of a deal. But anyways, so there's that. So most people access the Akashic records in meditation. Some of them have a prayer. Um, I tried it so many times that way, and I never got to the Akashic records through meditation ever. Ever. I never saw a building. I never saw a door. Nothing. And I tried my best. I begged to be taken there, but it didn't work out that way for me. It works for a lot of people that way. There was a reason that I wasn't allowed in that way, and it took me until now to see that. And the reason is that Metatron needed me to have really easy, really efficient access because his plan for me was to be able to use the Akashic records for other people, for clients, and be able to do it effectively as often as I needed to get there. Um, so for me to get to the Akashic records, it freaking blew my mind when he first showed it to me. I don't have to meditate. I don't have anything ritualistic or ceremonial. I don't light sage. There's no prayer. I don't close my eyes. um yeah, I don't even request to go to the Akashic records. He's just in tune with my thoughts, and I will just access my clairvoyance. And he's really cool. He knows the way I like to do things, so he's very efficient with me. There's no pomp and circumstance. There's no like I don't see doors and go into a building. He just immediately shows me the person, male or female. This is what they're dressed like. This is what they're doing. This is what job they have, or what's going on in the environment. So I just immediately get the storyline. He is very private with people's information. He will only give the details that I need to understand and the details that the client whose lives I'm looking at, it's the amount of detail that they need to get the learning and understanding and the point across. He doesn't show you anything unnecessary. Um, when you okay, so when you because it's possible for you to get Akashic records information while you're meditating. So there's two different ways to do it. One, you can be like, I want to go to the Akashic records, and you are personally, your energy is trying to go to the Akashic records. Another way, if your vibration isn't high enough to get there, or it's probably that, yeah. If your vibration isn't high enough to get there, but you want access to your past lives, you could meditate, and this has happened to me, and have another guide who has access, like Gabriel, like Zatkiel, like just another guide who has access. Um, they can provide you the past life. Gabriel's here because she knows I'm going to talk about her. And I like don't want to come across the wrong way on this. I want to be very respectful for Gabriel, and she knows that. Um, so she used to give me past lives before I was able to channel, before I had any contact with Metatron, before my vibration was high enough to get anywhere. I would meditate and I'd try my hardest, and every once in a while, she would give me a past life. And so she does everything exactly how she's supposed to do it, and she shows you the complete and accurate past life. So you get all the details, all of them, even the ones that really, really hurt to know about or that kind of re traumatize you to experience it, unfortunately. So that's the downside of trying to obtain past life information yourself. Also, there's no context. There's no, um, this is what was damaged. This trauma of this lifetime gave you this damage, which when I go with Metatron, I know where the damage is. This lifetime, and not just that, we heal the damage, which is not typical of a lot of people who have access to the Akashic records. They don't know how to do the energetic healing, so they send you away with, when I did it, they sent me away with like a 21-day ritual, 21 days, 3 weeks of a ritual I had to do every single day to have the angels help me heal the trauma, the damage from the trauma that they had brought up to me in these past lifetimes. You don't have to do that if you have an Akashic Records reading with me. Metatron and I will heal that trauma for you on the spot. So, and now I've lost my train of thought, and this is why I write notes. I'm going to go back to my notes, see if it'll help me at all. um, anyways, let's go back to gaining access to the Akashic Records just to kind of stay on track somewhat. So, Metatron doesn't give you any unnecessary details. Oh, that's right, because I was talking about how when you meditate, you don't have context. So, you don't know why that past life is being brought up, which is kind of the whole point, right? So, it's just more beneficial for you to either go through Metatron when you're at a high vibration, or to go through somebody else who has access to the higher vibration that can get in there for you. Um, oh, cool. I'm actually following my notes. Who knew? So, why is having an Akashic Records reading important? So, if you're serious about getting rid of trauma that's interfering with your current lifetime, it is the most effective way to get a maximum impact with almost no effort or trauma on your part, because you're just being told about the lifetime. You are not having to relive it, re-experience it, which is the hard part. Um, Yeah, so Metatron is very private with each soul's information. So something that happened to me before I could do all this, I went to someone else who did an Akashic Records reading for me, and they kind of offhand mentioned, "Oh, um, I was, I was looking around and I noticed you didn't have much karma." And so it's like, okay. No, okay, cool, great. Not much karma. So, that sounded cool, right? Well, later, when I got access to everything myself and I started talking to my guides, I learned that I have a ton of karma, that needs to be balanced. So, what happened was, if somebody goes snooping around in the Akashic records and they're asking questions and they're trying to get information that is none of their business, that doesn't serve a purpose to heal someone, if you're snooping around for ego or anything else, you're going to get no answer, or you're going to get the wrong answer, which is what happened to this person, you know? So don't snoop around the Akashic records. That's the lesson. And also, just Metatron is protective of everyone's information, which is really sweet of him. Let's see. Yeah. Da, da, da. So when I work with Metatron, I kind of already touched on it, but I want to get all the way to the finish point with it. So he shows me the lifetime. He tells me what location in your body the trauma damaged. We heal the trauma on the spot. And then he explains in detail how the trauma of that lifetime is impacting your current life. So, for example, he'll say, the trauma from this lifetime manifests in your current life as uh, as uh, as being very judgmental towards others, or it manifests in your current lifetime as believing you are at fault for things that you didn't do, or whatever. He tells you very specifically how it's manifesting. And then because the block of the trauma has been removed, you now have the option, you now have the ability to consciously look at these situations that used to trigger you to feel that way that he was describing. So you'll have the trigger happen again in the future, and you have the ability now moving forward to consciously go, ooh, I remember this is a knee-jerk reaction that I used to have to the situation. When people used to say this, I would immediately feel this other thing. But now I know this is from my trauma, and I'm not going to have that reaction. I'm going to choose differently. And so going to the Akashic records and having someone pull up your past lives, it's going to remove the block, but it's not a magic bullet. It's not going to cure all your problems. It's not going to cure the behavior for you, because you still have sovereignty. You still have free will. It's still up to you to make a conscious choice. And it's very important that all of us make conscious choices with everything. So it'll get you into that practice more by starting with these large traumas that are impacting your life negatively right now. Um, da, 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 da. Oh, another thing that I can identify when I go into the Akashic records, if you have something that you obtained during one of your past lives that is not ideal, such as somebody gave you a curse, or you made a vow that you shouldn't have made, or if you have any kind of like long term attachments that you shouldn't have, those are things that I can see, and those are things that I can resolve for you. So, for example, um, and the reason they need to be resolved, I should tell you this. So let's say you have a curse on you. It's not a curse just for that lifetime. It's a curse on your soul. So that sounds kind of scary, but it is. It's a curse on your energy. So that energy curse stays on your energetic soul until a shaman or someone who's working with Metatron can come in and remove it for you. So let me give you an example of a client that I had where they had they were angry at somebody, and so they tried to give that person a curse, and that person was rich, and so they were trying to curse that person to be poor. And the person was wearing a turquoise amulet, which I had to Google this later, but turquoise has the ability to reflect curses off of it. So they're wearing a turquoise amulet. So she tries to curse him. The curse bounces right back off of this guy, goes right back onto her. So now she has cursed herself, and it's created a money block in her life because she's cursed herself into poverty or being poor, because that's what she was trying to do to this guy. So that's something that Metatron and I removed. Um, I had, and it's funny because you don't know you have these things. There's no way to know you have these things. I found out that I had made a vow in one of my past lives that was, of course, still impacting me, and so it had to be removed. Well, remember I told you I had that 21-day ritual I had to do? Well, so it was like this huge written document I had to read every day, right? And so the very first time I did the ritual, I got to the part where I was talking about removing the vow. Oh my gosh, started crying. I started bawling. So my soul recognized the weight of what was being released and that it was burdening me, even though consciously I couldn't tell. I didn't know. But it's incredible the, the reaction that you'll get to certain things that you don't even realize you know. So that was a trip. Um, see. Yeah. So it's funny because I can remove like demonic attachments and stuff like that. A lot of people that you might go to for the Akashic records, I'll be super surprised if they can do any of these things for you, especially a demonic attachment, because most people don't want anything to do with demons or the devil or the astral realm, because it's a dangerous place, and you put yourself at risk to enter there and to interact with them. Uh, but I have experience there because that's where I started off. I didn't start off healing or Akashic records or whatever. I started off in the astral realm helping deceased people go back to the light. And it was through that work that I started learning more things like about demonic attachments and how to remove them. So this has been an extremely beneficial skill set, if not random, but very beneficial skill set for me because yes, I worked in the astral realm to get the information, but look how beneficial it is for me to be able to remove these things from people. So it worked out majorly well for not being part of my original soul plan. Let's see. And I also just want to say that I have really good protection in place, and that is from God, literally from God, because I think back to the stuff that I did, and I'm like, ooh, that should have ended really poorly. Now that I know more, when I first started, it's very naive, and I just assumed everything was going to work out, and everything did work out. But now looking back, I understand because God protected me with that work because He wanted me to be able to help people. It's not because I was experienced, because I should have just gotten destroyed down there, but He protected me really well, and Michael. Okay. So that's everything I have. So that's what the Akashic records are. That's how you get to the Akashic records, or the things you need in place. That's why you should want to have access to the Akashic records or reach out to somebody who does to help you remove trauma, to help you raise your vibration, to help make your day-to-day life better. If you are interested in me doing an Akashic records reading for you, please go to my website. It's orangelightenergy.com. I'll put the name of the website in my description. You can reach out to me on there. There's a contact form, and you can let me know what's going on, and I can get you set up and help you. Until next time, everybody. Bye bye.